At the far northwestern edge of Iran, the ancient volcanic crown of Ararat has watched over civilizations for 10,000 years. Lake Urmia, one of the largest salt lakes on Earth, turns blood red each summer as its ancient waters reach near total salinity. The salt crust along its shores grows centimeter by centimeter each year, a slow geological record of a dying sea. Tabriz has been a crossroads of trade since the Silk Road era. Its bazaar, the largest covered market on Earth, spans over 7 kilometers. The Arg-e-Alisha, built in the 14th century, was once the largest brick arch ever constructed. Only its monumental walls survive today. Damavand is one of the few inhabited troglodyte villages left on Earth. Families have lived inside these volcanic cones for over 7 centuries. The Urasparand forests are among the last remnants of the Hyrcanian woodland that once stretched unbroken from Iran to Eastern Europe. The Uras River has marked the boundary between empires and nations for centuries. Yet from above, it is simply a river feeding a fertile valley. Ardabil sits at 1,500 meters above sea level, a high-altitude city that gave birth to the Safavid dynasty, which forged modern Iran. The Sheikh Safi al-Din Shrine is a masterpiece of Islamic architecture, its layered domes representing 8 centuries of devotion and Persian craftsmanship. At 4,811 meters, Sabalan is Iran's 3rd highest peak. Its crater lake freezes completely each winter under one of the country's harshest skies. The Hyrcanian forests of Gilan are a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a temperate rainforest that has survived unchanged since the Jurassic period. Iran's Caspian coast receives over 1,200 millimeters of rain each year, making it lush, green, and utterly unlike the Iran most people imagine. Rasht is the culinary capital of Iran, a humid, food-obsessed city where the national dish of gourmet sabzi was born. Rudkhan Castle was built 1,000 years ago on a jungle-covered ridge. Its walls and towers stretch for nearly 3 kilometers along the mountain spine. The Chalice Road crosses the Alborz in a single breathtaking passage, from subtropical Caspian forest to the dry Iranian plateau in under 2 hours. Damavand is the highest volcano in Asia and the highest peak in the Middle East, a sacred mountain in Persian mythology for over 3,000 years. Damavand last erupted approximately 7,000 years ago. Geologists classify it as dormant, meaning it could awaken again. Tehran is home to over 15 million people, one of the largest and most vertically complex cities in the Middle East. The Golestan Palace was the ceremonial heart of the Qajar dynasty. Its halls hosted the coronations of Iran's last emperors. The Milad Tower stands as Tehran's modern landmark, the sixth tallest telecommunications tower in the world, visible from every corner of the capital. The Dasht-e Lut is one of the driest places on Earth. Its salt crust, formed over millions of years, can swallow vehicles that dare to cross it. Across Iran's deserts, hundreds of caravanserais built by Shah Abbas I stand at precise one-day march intervals, a royal hospitality network spanning an empire. Qom receives 20 million pilgrims each year. Its golden shrine makes it the holiest city in Iran and one of the most sacred in all of Shia Islam. The shrine's golden dome was re-gilded in the 19th century. Its surface contains over 7,000 bricks coated in pure gold leaf. The Maranjab Desert contains some of Iran's most spectacular dunes, formed over millennia by winds that have not changed direction since the last ice age. Isfahan, half the world according to the Persian proverb, was the Safavid capital at a time when it was arguably the most beautiful city on earth. Nakhshe-Jahan Square covers over 8 hectares. When Shah Abbas I designed it in 1598, he was creating a stage for an entire civilization. The Shah Mosque took 18 years to build. Over 500,000 tiles were hand-painted and fired to cover its domes and minarets. The Persepolis Bridge of 33 arches, has stood over the Zayandeh River since 1602, serving as bridge, dam, and gathering place simultaneously. The Friday Mosque of Isfahan contains elements from every major Islamic architectural period. It is a living textbook of 12 centuries of Persian building. Before Islam, a sacred flame burned on this hill for centuries. Zoroastrian fire temples like this one shaped the spiritual geography of ancient Persia. At Varzaneh, the cultivated and the desolate meet at a precise line. One step beyond the last canal, and life becomes impossible. Yazd is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities on Earth. Its adobe architecture has been refined over 3,000 years of desert survival. Yazd's Bagirs are the world's oldest air conditioning system. Some of these mud brick towers have cooled homes without electricity for over 2,000 years. The sacred flame inside this temple has burned continuously since 470 AD. It has never been extinguished in over 1,500 years. The Towers of Silence were Yazd's sacred burial ground for centuries. Zoroastrians believed the human body must never contaminate the sacred earth. Karanak is 1,000 years old and nearly abandoned. Its mud brick towers are returning slowly to the desert earth from which they were made. NASA satellite data recorded a surface temperature of 70.7 degrees Celsius in the Dasht-e Lut, the hottest land surface temperature ever measured on Earth. The kalutes of the Dasht-e Lut took millions of years of wind erosion to sculpt. Some of these towers stand taller than a 7-story building. Kerman sits at 1,750 meters altitude, a desert city that has been a center of carpet weaving and pistachio cultivation for over 1,000 years. The Ganjali Khan complex was built in a single campaign by one governor in the early 1600s, a complete Safavid urban ensemble preserved almost entirely intact. The Persian garden concept, a paradise enclosed from the desert, was invented in Iran and spread from here to Mughal India and Moorish Spain. Sarcheshme contains one of the largest copper deposits on Earth. This mountain has been mined since the Bronze Age, though never at today's industrial scale. Shiraz, the city of poets, roses, and wine, a city so identified with beauty and verse that Persian poetry itself is sometimes called Shirazi literature. The Iram garden has been cultivated for over 1,000 years. Its cypress trees, some over 3 centuries old, are living monuments to Persian garden art. Hafez died in 1390, yet Iranians still visit his tomb daily to seek guidance by opening his collected poems at random and reading their fortune. The Nasir al-Mulk Mosque contains over 40,000 tiles of hand-painted colored glass. At dawn, the interior becomes a kaleidoscope of living light. Persepolis was the ceremonial heart of the largest empire the ancient world had ever seen. Its construction began under Darius the Great in 518 BC. The Apadana Audience Hall once had 72 columns and could hold 10,000 people. Delegations from every nation of the known world came to bow before Darius here. Four Persian kings chose this cliff as their eternal resting place. Carved into living rock, their tombs have survived 25 centuries intact. Cyrus the Great lies beneath this simple stone chamber. The founder of the Persian Empire, who freed the Jews from Babylon and is praised in the Old Testament. Bushehr has been a Persian Gulf port for at least 3,000 years. Its warm waters connect Iran to Arabia, India, and the ancient maritime Silk Road.
The western tip of
The Strait of
Keshem Island
Hormuz,
rises
which
from
Keshem
the
Island
turquoise
commands,
and deep
is the
blue
world's
waters
most
of the
strategically
Strait of
important choke
Hormuz.
point.
Tanker vessels
20% of
navigate
all
this
global
strategic
oil
waterway,
passes through
while
these waters.
mangroves line the sheltered coast and villages cling to the edge.
Local legend says the Stars Valley was formed when a meteorite struck the island. In reality, thousands of years of salt and wind erosion carved this otherworldly landscape. The Hara Mangrove Forest is a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. It is the only mangrove ecosystem in Iran and one of the most important bird nurseries in the Persian Gulf. Hormuz Island's soil is so rich in iron oxide and sulfur that local inhabitants mix the red earth into their bread. The island literally feeds its people its own geology. Bandar Abbas controls the entrance to the Persian Gulf. The busiest maritime choke point in the world flows past this ancient port city every single day. The Zagros Mountains form the backbone of western Iran, a geological archive of tectonic forces that have been folding this land for over 60 million years. The Karun is the only navigable river in Iran. Its waters have sustained the civilizations of Khuzestan since before recorded history began. Beneath the flat plains of Khuzestan lies one of the world's greatest concentrations of oil, a geological accident that has shaped Iran's modern destiny. Susa was already 3,000 years old when Alexander the Great arrived, one of the longest continuously inhabited cities in the history of the world. Chogha-Zanbil was built by the Elamite king Untash-Napirisha around 1250 BC. It is the best preserved ancient ziggurat outside Mesopotamia. The Hawizeh marshlands have sustained human life since the earliest Mesopotamian civilizations. They are the living remnant of the biblical Garden of Eden's landscape. The bridge at Desful was built by Roman prisoners captured by the Sassanid king Shapur I. It has carried traffic across the Des River for 17 centuries. Hamadan was the ancient Ecbatana, capital of the Median Empire, one of the oldest cities in the world, continuously inhabited for nearly 3,000 years. Avicenna was born near Bukhara, but died in Hamadan. His canon of medicine remained the standard medical textbook in Europe for over 600 years. Ali Sadr contains the world's largest water cave. Its underground lake stretches for kilometers beneath the dry Iranian plateau above. Kermanshah has stood at the western gateway of Iran for millennia. Every army that ever crossed the Zagros to reach the plateau passed through this valley. The Taq-e-Bostan carvings were commissioned by Sassanid kings as declarations of divine authority, carved into living rock so that time itself could not erase them. The Bisotun inscription was carved on orders of Darius the Great in 522 BC. It was the key that allowed scholars to decipher the ancient cuneiform script. Sanandaj is the cultural heart of Iranian Kurdistan, a city where Persian and Kurdish civilization have woven together for centuries into a distinctive mountain culture. Lake Zaravar is one of the few natural freshwater lakes in western Iran. Its shores have been settled since the Neolithic period, 10,000 years ago. Tabriz sits in the absolute center of the Dasht-e Lut, an oasis city so isolated that a 1978 earthquake destroyed it almost completely in a single night. The Shahdad Salt Garden is one of the most alien landscapes on Earth. Its white crystalline towers rise from the desert floor like the ruins of a vanished civilization. Mashhad receives over 20 million pilgrims each year, making it one of the most visited cities on Earth, surpassing many European capitals in annual visitors. The Imam Reza Shrine is the largest mosque complex in the world by area. Its courtyards can accommodate over 1 million worshippers simultaneously. Golistan National Park was Iran's first protected reserve. It shelters Persian leopards, brown bears, and species found nowhere else in the Middle East. Gorgan stands at one of history's great geographic crossroads, where the Caspian forests meet the Central Asian steppe, and where civilizations have clashed for millennia. The Great Wall of Gorgan stretches 195 kilometers. Built by the Sassanid Empire in the 5th century, it is longer than Hadrian's Wall and older than most of the Great Wall of China. Nishapur was once among the largest cities in the world, a medieval metropolis of science and poetry that was erased by the Mongol invasion of 1221. Omar Khayyam was born in Nishapur in 1048. Mathematician, astronomer, and poet, he calculated the length of the solar year to within a fraction of a second. At Sarax, the Iranian plateau ends and Central Asia begins. This crossing point has been used by merchants, armies, and nomads for at least 4,000 years. The shrine of Sheikh Ahmad-i-Jam has drawn pilgrims to this remote oasis for 8 centuries, a Timurid masterpiece standing quietly at the edge of the eastern desert. At the eastern frontier, Iran dissolves into one of the world's most remote and inhospitable landscapes, a border drawn through emptiness where only the wind has a permanent address. The Binalud Range divides the world into two. To the north, the Caspian Basin and Central Asia. To the south, the Great Iranian Plateau stretching all the way to the Persian Gulf. At night, the Imam Reza Shrine becomes a lighthouse of faith, its golden dome visible for 40 kilometers across the dark Khorasan plain. At night, Tehran becomes one of the most luminous cities on Earth, a sea of light climbing the Alborz slopes that is visible from space. The Persian Gulf has been Iran's gateway to the world since the Bronze Age. Its waters carry the memory of every empire that has ever called this shore home. Iran is not a country you see. It is a country you remember, as if you had always known it, as if its deserts and domes and ancient stones had been waiting for you all along.